Francis Ngannou nearly killed Renan Ferreira with not one, not two, not three, not four, but maybe five shots to the back of the head. Yeah, besides the shots at the back of the head, the performance was super impressive from Francis Ngannou. You know, that first round, him and Ferreira, they were both exchanging those leg kicks, but Ngannou showed great level change. Ferreira tried to come over the top with the left hook, it looked like. Ngannou ducked under that shot and got that double leg. Ferreira did good to cradle Ngannou's legs, right, to stop him from posturing up and landing ground and pound. He nearly caught Ngannou with that triangle, but he just couldn't really lock up those legs. And Ngannou managed to escape. He kind of pivoted out to his side. He also landed some ground and pound, and that made Ferreira just let go of that triangle. And from there, it was just over, wasn't it? Ngannou pushed him up against the cage, and he just landed hammers on Ferreira. It was hammers, and it looked like he was out at one point. Dan Hardy was screaming that he was out, but Ngannou just kept landing those those shots to the back of the head. It was nasty. It was like 4 or 5 shots to the back of the head. You know, yeah, Ferreira's he just got sent to the gulag. It's a shame that Ngannou's not really got, you know, the level of competition that he needs at the minute, right? At PFL. Yeah, I think Ferreira's probably the best that the PFL had to offer, and he just destroyed him in that first round. He just showed that he was levels above. Ferreira just didn't know what to do on the ground at all. He was just super poor on the ground. Yeah, the evolution in Ngannou's game has been really interesting to see. He came onto the scene, obviously. Um, he was just a boxer, right? He was just a boxer. He got a few early submissions in his first few fights, but that was just purely off raw strength. He even admitted that himself. We saw in the fight against Gane that he knew how to wrestle. He took Gane down and dominated him there. And then here against Ferreira again, he took Ferreira down, but instead of just taking him down and keeping him there, he actually landed shots and finished the fight, which was super impressive. Obviously, it was an emotional one for Ngannou too, after losing his son. But that's just a testament to his character, because his story is ridiculous. All the things that he had to do. He was homeless. Going across the Sahara Desert on like on the side of a truck. Trying to swim out from Morocco by boat and paddling using his hand. This is all from Joe Rogan podcast. If you haven't listened to it, he told the story on there. And then obviously losing his son, who was about 15 months. But it's just a testament to his character, him as a person, and to still come back and just dominate like that with all the adversity that he's having to go through. It shows that he's a truly special fighter. So what's next for Ngannou? I don't know. Obviously John Jones is fighting in November, against Stipe Miocic. If John Jones does retire and he's no longer under contract with the UFC, could Jake Paul, make something happen between Ngannou and John Jones? I think that fight's just been so long overdue, right? Or Ngannou could go back to boxing. Don't know who he would fight over there, because he's already fought the two big names. But whatever you choose to do, I'm sure we're all gonna watch him. Moving on to AJ McKee versus Paul Hughes. A big upset, right? Still crazy that this man did not get a contract from the UFC, but fighters like Robelis Despain did. Anyway, Uh, Brilliant performance from Hughes. It was a top performance. He made AJ McKee look like absolutely. He made him look pants. You know, that first round, McKee tried to come in strong. He started off aggressive with those kicks, and he tried to control the fight by pushing Hughes up against the cage. But Hughes showed some good defense, and he countered with solid strikes. Obviously caught McKee's kick, and he landed a big knee. And then I think it was the uppercut that dropped McKee at the end of that round. And lucky McKee, he saved by the bell, because otherwise it was done. A bit like how Anderson Silva dropped Michael Bisping in their fight at the end of the round. But yeah, crazy. That second round, I think Hughes already said that he was gassed, which I guess happened after dropping his opponent. He must have just had a crazy adrenaline dump, and he came out into that second round just flushed. But yeah, McKee tried to impose his grappling in that round and his clinching. He was going for the takedowns, but Hughes defended most of the attempts. Hughes continued landing the more effective striking. He was landing combinations, pressuring McKee, and I can see people giving McKee that second round, but I don't know where you give him another round. Because you definitely don't give him the first, and you don't give him the third. So a split decision was mental. I mean, that third round, yeah, it was kind of competitive. McKee again attempting to wrestle and control Hughes, but Hughes' striking was it was on point. It was so consistent. He landed the cleaner shots throughout the fight, maintained the pace as well. His ability to defend takedowns alongside landing clean shots and his pressure, I don't think anyone was expecting, right? It was a big upset. It's AJ McKee's second loss in his career, and mate, Dana White, mate, Robelis de Spain, but gets a contract, but Hughes doesn't get a contract. This guy is serious. Now, after the fight, Paul Hughes called out a certain man, and that man is here to my right, Usman Nurmagomedov, right? And at this moment in time, I believe that fight turns out similar to the fight between these two, right? Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Usman's pressure and his chain wrestling, that Dagestani chain wrestling style, I think it's just going to be a bit too much for Paul Hughes. I think he's going to overwhelm him. I mean, Usman is also good on the feet, but I think the path to least resistance is going to be that wrestling. I just think he's going to eat Paul Hughes up, mate. And Paul Hughes said that he wanted Conor McGregor in his corner. And obviously Khabib's going to be on Usman's corner. That would be mental if that happened. That would be absolutely crazy. You're going to need layers and layers of security to keep these two from killing, because they hate each other. If they actually saw each other, they would try to kill each other. Right? And McGregor, he's even more out of his flipping nut now than he was before. Right? We've all seen the videos of him, bro. So yeah, I mean, it looks like Paul Hughes is next up. I'd like to see him get another fight, build a bit more experience before fighting Usman, even though Usman in his own right is only 26 years of age. But I just don't think Paul Hughes is ready yet for that fight. And he's on fire at the moment. I think you want to protect him. It's basically these two, their fight is going to be the B-Tech version of these two. Khabib and McGregor. They're just permanently linked to each other, innit? But yeah, I mean, if that fight's gonna happen, I can't wait to see that fight regardless. Right, now let's talk about the next fight. Right. So I've got this thumbnail that I made for one of my previous videos, but I think something's missing. Right. So I'm just gonna move mirror up right here, the professional huggers prison. Right. We're gonna move Mario Bautista over here, and let's see what's missing. Oh, that's right, Johnny Eblen. Yeah, so you get in there, son. That's where you belong. That's where you belong, Johnny Eblen, right? Because you ruined my night. These three and their professional hugging is ruining the sport. Have a look at this, right? This is Conor McGregor's tweet um, during the Eblen and Edwards fight. Act like you was on fed up and over this bullshit. Or use one, but I won't. It's just become the norm nowadays. The product is suffering because of it. If it wasn't for the brand name already well established, it would be well in the bin by now. It is in the bin in the mainstream. That's a fact. There is no mainstream casual audience here. It needs calling out, adjusting, a full review. MMA is better than what it has become recently, in my opinion, and I completely agree with Conor McGregor, right? And I don't think any of us agree with Conor McGregor as of late. Look, he's absolutely right. Mario Batista versus Jose Aldo, Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. Both guys won by overlooking damage completely and instead chose to hug their opponents, right? For rounds at a time. No submission attempts, no advancing in position, no trying to get past the guard, no ground and pound. It's just boring, right? And also it's hard to see that and say, yeah, he's winning the fight because he's hugging his opponent. Like Johnny Eblen again today with the hug of destiny for the entirety of that fight against Fabian Edwards. It was just a bad year for the Edwards brothers. Right, Leon Edwards got dropped on his bald patch by Bilal Muhammad, and Fabian Edwards got dropped as well, and he's probably gonna end up with the flipping bald patch because he landed on top of his head. I don't know. Look, you're an absolute liar if you watch your opponent or if you watch a fight and the fighter takes his opponent down and is just static for the remainder of the round. Honestly, man, it's not entertaining for us fans, right? And it's just, if it, at this point it kind of just feels like a loophole, like you're cheating the system. Like the Mario Batista Jose Aldo fight, right? Jose Aldo did more damage than Mario Batista, but because Mario Batista decided to put his head in between Jose Aldo's legs for flipping 3 minutes of that final round, he won the fight because of control. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and it's becoming a problem as of recent with the sport. Right, I think something needs to happen. Conor McGregor he gave a solution. He talked about like a timer. The guy gets into kind of same position. He's got a timer. It ticks down, and then it stops him from being in that position for so long, unless he actually does something. I think something needs to be implemented because it's just getting ridiculous, right? We've seen it with Merab, like I said, with Mario Batista recently against Aldo, and now with Johnny Eblen again tonight. It's just so boring. So boring. Such a boring way to win a fight. It's not even winning a fight. The last video on this channel, our last video, is actually a deeper dive into this, right? Why the UFC rules are broken and why guys like Merab are gonna stay undefeated forever because it favors them. The grapplers being favored, right? So definitely check that out. So you stay there, Johnny Eblen, right? Behind bars with Merab and Batista. You professional hugging. Moving on to UFC, right? Do you know who this is? You're wrong. It's not Derek Lewis. It's me when I watch UFC Apex card, right? Because the card tonight was actually alright. It was a good card, right? Besides the or after the flipping female Avengers, female Power Rangers unite, 3 women's fights in a row, right? After that extravaganza, the fights were actually decent, even though they were like ooh decisions, bar obviously the main event. The Apex absolutely sucks, man. It's terrible. It's like watching COVID football. It was awful. Just you lose that atmosphere, that energy, that aura. Like, please, Dana, just burn it down. Just burn the Apex. I heard they're expanding. Why are you expanding it? Why? Why? Well, anyway, let's talk about the main event, right? Fluffy Hernandez versus Alex Pereira. I just call him Alex Pereira. It's not Alex Pereira. Anyway, yeah, I mean, just look at those stats. Look at the total strikes. That is ridiculous. 219 to Pereira's measly 29 with 10 takedown attempts. In fact, I think Hernandez broke the record at middleweight for the most takedown attempts or takedowns attempted. I think it was like 26 or something. But yeah, that first round. Let's talk about the first round. Well, the fight as a whole, it was actually quite hard to watch, right? It was. You see why UFC is not for kids, right? It's not because of the violence. It was the bullying, right? Pereira got bullied. he got bullied. He is not made for 5 rounds, but we'll get into that. The first round, right? Pereira, of course, it was going to be the round he looked the most dangerous. He landed that teep to the body, which actually hurt Hernandez. But his follow-up shot selection was absolutely pants. It was poor, right? He was hitting oxygen gloves and forearm more than anything. He stuffed every takedown until the last one, right at the end of the round, and a lot of the takedowns he stuffed through pure athleticism and strength. And yeah, I mean, he's got to rely on more than just his physical traits. He needs to get that whizzer in for those single legs, and yeah, he just didn't do that. Besides that, Fluffy landed a nice little spinning elbow. He got that takedown at the end and landed some ground and pound. But as you can see, it's not. I mean, there's not as big of a chasm in this first round as you're gonna see in the upcoming rounds. 47 strikes to 2. 30 significant strikes to 2 significant strikes. Yeah, that second round. So that second round, Pereira actually had a guillotine in, right? But he didn't. He got the guillotine in, right? Took Hernandez to the ground. But what he needed to do was get on top of Hernandez for that leverage, right? Get those legs wrapped around him, and obviously pull up on the neck, pull down on the body using his legs. But he just didn't do that. Don't know why, mate. And then when he didn't do that, he should have just bailed and let go of the choke, because he wore his arms out. He just blew his arms out. Hernandez was creating space for him to breathe, and yeah, it just went downhill the front there for Pereira. Hernandez got his leg out, right, because it was a bit between Pereira's legs, and as soon as he got it out, he was able to create enough space. And yeah, he just ground pounded the shit out of Michael Pereira. He even went for, he went for 2 submission attempts. He went for an arm triangle. He even went for an arm bar, I think it was. And yeah, Hernandez he just dominated him. He took him down another 2 times in that second round. He just smashed his face in. And in the third round, it was the bullying, the level of bullying it increased. Pereira just showed his terrible conditioning, and I'm not surprised. Just look at the guy, right? He's one of the most explosive guys in that middleweight division, while looking like Thor. He's got Thor's muscles, Thor's size, and that's not gonna help him. Those big blown up muscles taking up all that oxygen. It just played. It just went against him, and yeah, it was pretty much a continuation of what happened at the end of round 2. Fluffy just smashing him, and then that fourth round. That fourth round was one-way traffic. Pereira just lost all intention in his punches. Hernandez just started taking him down for bants, and yeah, it started becoming embarrassing for Pereira. It started to become embarrassing for him, right? I think it's his first main event. 5 rounds. He was just not ready for it at all. I don't know what he was thinking. Did he really think he was going to get Hernandez out there in the first 2 rounds? I don't know. But yeah, he pretty much had nothing to offer. His coaches even told him in between rounds, just use that 3rd round to rest and get your energy back. You just can't do that against someone like Hernandez, who's gonna put the pressure on you and try to get that takedown. It was poor advice. And they told him, like, in between the 3rd and the 4th, we'll try and land one big shot at coaches, right? That's top level coaching, yeah? Just try and land a big shot, yeah? Please. But yeah, the 5th round, one strike. The 5th round, just to top it off, right? Hernandez takes him down, and he gives Pereira something to remember him by. Right, stitches. He gave him a huge gash above his eye. Yeah, it was bleeding like crazy. Yeah, he was, and he needed to get that finish, right? If Hernandez didn't get that finish, he actually would have got a lot of stick, because Pereira was just, he was a man running on absolutely nothing. He was finished. So Hernandez needed that finish. He got it. He also got a performance of the night bonus, rightly so. Great performance from him, and just poor from Pereira, man. Absolutely pants, terrible. Just, just keep him there. Early prelims, right? Just let him do his thing in the 3 rounds. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But yeah, top performance by Hernandez. Still young as well. But the midweight division is just pants right now, isn't it? I mean, Pereira's ranked like what, number 11 or something, number 10. It's horrible, man. Who does Hernandez fight next? I don't know, man. I don't know, but I think he's gonna be a problem, because he's a man that once he takes you down, once he gets you down, he's gonna keep you down, right? You're not getting back up, and that's gonna be a big problem. Yeah, well done to Anthony Hernandez. Rob Font versus Kyler Phillips. This fight was, I think, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, Firas Zahabi, we'll talk about him a little bit, but what a coach, man. I love that guy. Listen to his podcast. I think he's just brilliant, and he showed his brilliance in this fight. But yeah, that first round, Kyler Phillips's game plan, yeah, he made it pretty clear, right? It was going to be to wrestle solely because of Rob Font's stand-up, right? He's good on the feet. A lot of side control, right? Font stopped from transitioning to mount, but failed to stop Phillips from posturing up and landing those elbows, right? It was pretty dominant from Kyler Phillips in that first round, but the brilliance of Firas Zahabi obviously kicked in between that first and second round. He just said to him, right? Just disengage in the wrestling completely, because you're gonna be the one who's gonna dominate the striking in this fight, right? And that's exactly what happened. And have a look at that, how the stats just swing like a pendulum. Every time Phillips came in for a clinch or trying to get a takedown, Font would, or he got up straight away, I believe, from the first takedown, but he would disengage from the clinch. And yeah, his pressure was just, it was excellent. He was like a brand new fighter. Um, landed some good shots to the head. Like I mentioned, he did get taken down, but got straight back up. He was the busier fighter in that round. Not as many shots to the body as Zahabi wanted, but the pressure that he kept up, right, allowed him to be at a distance that stopped the threat of Kyler Phillips's kicks, right? Because Phillips has some good kicks to the head. He has some spinning kicks and whatnot. Completely neutralized it just from being in that void, similar to Bilal versus Edwards, right? Edwards' head kicks were absolute no-show during that Bilal fight because of the range that Bilal was fighting him at. And that's exactly what happened in this fight, right? Phillips just lost one of his biggest weapons in his kicks because of how close Font was to him, putting that pressure on him. And yeah, it was a brilliant round by Rob Font and some great advice from Zahabi. The third round, it was more of the same. I think Phillips was a little tired. Phillips landed some good calf kicks, but he needed to land more. He needed to invest in those kicks earlier, but he didn't. He kind of just started going gung-ho in that third round with those kicks, but it was too late for that. It was a close round, that third round, but Font's pressure, I think he landed more shots as well. So yeah, great performance by Rob Font, and I hope he still stays with Ferreira Zahabi at TriStar, because he's gonna improve on a lot if he does, and we saw the glimpses of improvement in this fight against Kyler Phillips. So great performance by Rob Font. Finally, let's talk about Darren Elkins versus Daniel Pineda, because this fight was mental, right? These two just beat the brain cells out of each other. It was a proper parking lot fight. First one to hit maximum CTE, and Pineda hit it. That's why he retired. A smart man. Yeah, the fight was absolutely crazy. That first round, I feel like Pineda started strong. He showcased like some good striking, some good movement, landed some clean punches that hurt Elkins. Some good grappling as well. From Elkins, he absorbed a lot of damage in that first round, but the second round, completely different story. Yeah, Elkins pretty much just turned the tide. He utilized his wrestling in this round more effectively than Pineda. He scored the takedown, just controlled Pineda on the ground. Even though he took some significant damage in that first round, Elkins' grappling began to just wear down Pineda. And Pineda, the old man, as Elkins has started to show some signs of fatigue. And that third round was just obviously pivotal for both guys, because you could say it was 1-1, but Elkins continued to just do what he was doing that second, pushing the pace, relying on his endurance and grappling to outwork Pineda. It was just the experience showing through. Yeah, Pineda just remained dangerous at times in that third round. Managed to land some good shots, but Elkins' relentless pressure and control in the grappling exchanges allowed him just to secure the fight. It was a brilliant fight. So much blood. Yeah, the fight was just a testament to both these old dogs, their toughness, right? With Elkins' ability to just weather the early storm and gradually assert the control throughout the rest of the fight. It was brilliant. right? And 100% deserved the fight of the night bonus. And Pineda retired, so yeah, sad to see. Yeah, I mean that tattoo on Darren Elkins' chest is, it makes sense, right? It's very, very befitting, especially after a fight like that. It was a great performance from him after that first round where Pineda was doing, like, he was doing some serious damage. He was kind of in like a side mount position, right? But he used a full Nelson to land his ground and pound. Like, he landed some big elbows on Elkins. You know, it was super clever offense. But yeah, Elkins just got the better of him in the latter two rounds. Pineda was just completely out of it, and yeah, that's what I really want to talk about for this event. Robles Despain, absolute waste of talent, waste of potential, right? This geezer got a contract, but HUGS, he just beat AJ McKee, didn't get a contract. But yeah, that's all really for both cards. That's what I remember anyway, so stick around for more content, and yeah.